Hello, everybody. This is Steve Yoder. Welcome to week 7 in Legal Studies 246 in the summer of 2018 here at the UAB Collat School of Business. All of you have by now taken the first exam in the course, and I will have a separate announcement about the results of that. There is a survey that I ask that you take about how you prepared for that, and that survey is due on Friday, June 22nd, 2018. So please be sure you take that survey. That does count. We are looking at two separate areas of the law. This week we are first looking at criminal law, and then we are going to look at intellectual property law. And there's a separate chapter in your textbook on intellectual property law as it applies in social media and on the internet. Here's a look inside the learning activities for criminal law. There is, as usual, a set of narrated slides. I strongly suggest that you use the regular PowerPoint slides, print them out and take notes on them, and then save them and use those notes to study for the second exam. And then there is a set of learning activities on intellectual property law, including, again, some narrated slides. Looking first at criminal law. We studied civil law when we looked at the law of torts. You don't go to jail for committing a tort. You might go to jail for committing a crime, and this chart shows you the key differences between civil law and criminal law, including, look at that last row, remedies. A remedy for violating a criminal law, again, is that you might go to jail. Because taking away someone's liberty is protected under our Constitution, it is a lot harder to send somebody to jail. It is a lot harder to find someone guilty of a crime as opposed to a tort. And I think this chart, if you can zoom in on it, summarizes it very well. Casey Anthony was accused of killing her toddler daughter several years ago, and her lawyer, shown with the poster on the left, very effectively showed just how hard it is under our legal system to find that someone is guilty of a crime. An example of a crime in the United States, sometimes people are surprised about what is and is not a crime. Clearly, taking someone's life is a crime, but it is also a crime to steal trade secrets, as this woman tried to do from Coca-Cola. We'll be talking about that. It's also a crime to act unethically if you are a public official, and our former Speaker of the House here in Alabama, Mike Hubbard, found that out the hard way several years ago. Just as there are defenses to being charged with the civil wrong of a tort, there are defenses to being found guilty of a crime, such as being too young, being involuntarily intoxicated, and perhaps insanity. The insanity defense is much understood, and I encourage you to read what the textbook has to say on that. It's just a paragraph or two, but we'll be talking about that as well in the PowerPoint slides and the narrated slides. Moving on to intellectual property, we'll be talking about trademarks and how important it is not to allow them to become diluted, as is being attempted in these examples shown here. We'll be talking about some things that might not be obvious that can be trademarked. Can you trademark shoes simply because they have red soles? We'll look at the article in the learning module on that. In the news with President Trump is the fact that his daughter Ivanka has gotten a number of trademarks granted to her from the Chinese government for her products since her father became president. Another form of intellectual property would be a patent, and while usually we think of patents as machines that do some kind of work, they can also there can also be design patents, as in the case of yoga pants shown here. And the final form of intellectual property we'll be looking at is copyright. And here's some examples of copyrightable things. And then finally, as I said, we'll be looking at the law of intellectual property, including copyrights as they apply in our digital age. Here is a very important assignment worth 2 points to your final grade for you to participate in the voice thread discussion board about what happened to Jamie Thomas when she was found to have violated the copyrights on some music several years ago. Here's an extra credit opportunity for you. Tell me, for 2 points added to your second exam, whether what they were fighting about here between Trader Joe's and Pepperidge Farm, was it a copyright, was it a trademark, or was it a patent? And then finally, by Friday, June 22, that's not a Sunday night, Friday, please complete that survey. And you can see here that there are a number of other things that will be due related to this module on the 1st of July.